This is the Leitmotif and Movement podcast, and we are coming to you with a very special bonus episode. This is going to be a lot less structured than usual, but we have the same panel of hosts as we usually do. I'm Mike Ficklin, as always, with my son,
Michael Ficklin.
And we decided we were going to do this bonus episode because we're coming off the absolute excitement and fun of seeing the Sammy Hagar Best of All Worlds 2024 tour on Friday night. Great way to start our Labor Day weekend.
Agreed.
It was kind of an interesting night. I've never been to a show before an outdoor show anyway, where they had to do a weather delay in the middle of the show, or even for the beginning of the show. And alas, we ended up having a situation where we had some lightning storms in the area, and they ended up sending us out about 4 songs into Sammy's set.
It was 5 or 6.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think they sent us out on Judgment Day, or right after Judgment Day. So they sent us out to the car for about a half hour, and we came back, and they started playing again. And then unfortunately it got cut off altogether. They ended up having to stop the set short and just call the show because there were more lightning storms in the area. But we did get a very large majority of the show in, and I think I got to hear just about everything that I was looking forward to hearing.
Me too.
Michael, what was your favorite part of the show?
After we came back in, I think my favorite songs were after we came back in.
So, well, I'll kind of go through all the songs that they did play. Mm-hmm. They opened up the set with Good Enough, which is the opening track on 5150, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. I had so much fun with that. I don't think that I have gone to a show before where I sang the words to every single song that they played. This was the first time for me. I had a blast, and I noticed that you were singing Good Enough as well, so yeah, I know you really like the 5150 album.
I think everybody was having a blast.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree. They followed up Good Enough with Pound Cake. That's the opening track off of For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. By the way, the purpose of this tour was to celebrate the music of not only Sammy's solo stuff, but also Van Halen, and that was primarily the focus of the show. They did mostly Van Halen material, so Good Enough again was from Van Halen's 5150, which was the first record with Sammy. Pound Cake comes from For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. It was the third album with Sammy. It's the opening track. Joe Satriani actually came out and had the drill and was doing the drill bit on the guitar, which was awesome. I was really impressed with Satch all night, really. Satch killed it, and I know those songs are not easy songs to learn to play. Eddie has a way about the way he plays. It's very difficult to duplicate his sound, his feel. Satch was nailing it all night.
Yeah.
Any particular favorite moments from Satch?
I think he just did pretty good the whole entire show.
Awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. They followed up Pound Cake with Runaround, which is another one of my favorite songs for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. That put a big old smile on my face. I was singing the lyrics as loud as I could on that one. I used to transcribe lyrics as best I could when I would listen to songs. That was one of the first songs that I tried to figure out what they were singing before I ever actually owned a CD and had the liner notes that had the lyrics in it.
Oh.
I would listen to it over and over and over again and try and transcribe the lyrics as best I could.
Oh.
Runaround was one of the first songs that I tried to figure out all the lyrics to. Got it about 90%.
Few parts that you didn't know?
Yeah, just a few things that I was probably mishearing, but I got it pretty much most of the way. So Runaround's one of those songs I absolutely love. It's a lot of fun. They followed that up with an old Sammy Hagar solo staple, There's Only One Way to Rock. I love that song. It's a lot of fun. and Sammy just let Joe do whatever he wanted on the guitar on that one. Joe took off on that one.
Agreed.
Then they followed that up with Judgment Day, another favorite from For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. And that was at the point where they ended up having to pause the show and sending everybody out to their cars. Sammy did stay out on the stage for a little bit and chat up the audience and just tried to make the best of a kind of crummy situation.
I think it was his judgment or somebody else on the stage that got Sammy off the stage.
Yeah, one of the backstage hands finally ended up coming and get him. It just wasn't safe for him to stay out on the stage in an electrical storm. So they did pull him off stage, and then they restarted the show about 30 minutes later, and they picked right up where they left off. They came out with a David Lee Roth era Van Halen song. They came out with Panama. Everybody loves Panama. Gets the crowd singing. Then they went into a song that I've never seen Sammy play before, and I've seen Sammy many times, a multitude of times. Seen him with Van Halen, seen him by himself multiple times. Never got to see them play 5150, and I was so excited to see them play 5150. Joe nailed it. Sam was on his game. Everybody was on their game. I was all smiles for that one, singing along. You ended up coming over and standing near me during that song, and I know that you're not as big a fan of that song as I am, but I heard you singing the lyrics too, so great tune.
Yeah, you were so excited during that concert. I saw you with a big smile that whole entire concert.
Mom got some good pictures
Agreed.
of me. They came off 5150 and went into Summer Nights. And an interesting story about Summer Nights that Sammy relayed on the stage, he wasn't sure that anybody could play that song because there's a complication to the way that it's played that it was just Eddie's thing, you know?
I didn't catch that.
Satch said, I can do this, and learn how to play it. And he did a good job of it. And they nailed Summer Nights. That was a lot of fun. Good song. They went from that into another old David Lee Roth era Van Halen song, Ain't Talking About Love, and they let Michael Anthony sing that song. And Michael hasn't lost anything. Michael's still got that great voice. He's still got that real high. He hits those high notes. And speaking of that, most of the time, Sammy, he's 76 years old. Yeah. He's not a spring chicken anymore. It's hard for him to hit some of those high notes. So they were letting Michael Anthony sing the higher parts on some of those songs, and it worked. It sounded great. And I even think that the keyboard player that they had out there was singing some of those notes too.
I think he was too.
They did Top of the World next, which is the last song on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and another favorite of mine. Great lyrics, good tune, it's a good time. The crowd was singing along. That was a good song. That was a good performance of the song. I love it when the crowd gets into it and you can hear everybody singing along.
Yeah, everybody was singing, definitely.
Then Best of Both Worlds. Off of 5150. They nailed that one too, and they even came out and did the Van Halen strut to start that song out. They pulled the keyboard player down, and Sammy and Michael Anthony and the keyboard player did the Van Halen strut, which started with, if I recall correctly, the tour for 5150. They come out and Eddie and Michael and Sammy do the strut as they're in the beginning of the song. It was awesome seeing that again. And about halfway through the song, they had the keyboard player singing Celebrate Good Times, had the crowd doing it.
That was funny.
They went in after Best of Both Worlds, and they gave Joe Satriani a chance to do a little boogie, did a little solo piece, and he was awesome on that. He killed it.
Agreed.
It kind of sounded to me like, and you've never heard this song, but it kind of sounded to me like the beginning of the boogie was the opening to a song called Man on a Mission, which was from For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and then they just kind of jammed off of it. They never actually played Man on a Mission, but they let Joe jam off of it. So that was a lot of fun. Then they surprised everybody by playing the opening song to Balance, which was the Seventh Seal. I love that song. It's a good, hard rockin' tune. It's kind of dark. The lyrics are dark. Good song. They nailed it. Did you like that one? Do you remember that one?
Kinda, and I think I did like it.
Right after the Seventh Seal, they went into Right Now, which was a huge hit from For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Everybody knows that song. The crowd was full throat singing along. The keyboard, having the live keyboard player was awesome because he was nailing the opening on that. The one problem I had with it was during the chorus, it sounded like they had the keyboards too low in the mix.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really hear him, and you should have been able to hear him. So I don't know what was up with that. If they could have gotten him just a little bit higher into the mix, I think it would have made it a lot better.
It felt like the whole entire concert, his keyboard was low.
It was kind of getting drowned out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. They just didn't have him high enough up in the mix. They followed up Right Now with Why Can't This Be Love, which is Michael's favorite song off of 5150. I know he was excited when they started playing that.
I think I've have a full throat sing since our last concert that we went to.
Yeah, I know you was singing every word to Why Can't This Be Love. I know you was all about that. I know you was excited about that one. The big smile on your face gave it away. From there, Sammy dedicated the show to Jason Bonham, who is supposed to be on this tour playing drums. Jason is the son of the late, great Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham. And unfortunately, Jason had a family emergency and had to leave the tour. So filling in for him was great drummer Kenny Aronoff. Most people probably know him from his time when he played with John Mellencamp. He was able to come in on the show, and this, I think I heard Sammy say that this was only his third show on the tour,
Yeah.
and he was already nailing the songs.
It was either second or third.
Yeah, he did a great job all night. So they dedicated a Sammy solo song called Eagles Fly to Jason and his family. Outstanding performance. I love Eagles Fly anyway. It's a sappy song, but it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite Sammy staples.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the stagehands came back out, and the crowd, it drew a big boo from the crowd, and they were basically telling Sammy they were going to have to kill the show. So Sammy got his guitar and said, I can't let Indiana leave without getting this one in, and he went into I Can't Drive 55, which was the big hit for Sammy before he joined Van Halen. Had you ever heard that before?
No. I was just singing along with the crowd.
Fun song to play. I think I've relayed the story on our Van Halen 5150 episode about Sammy writing that song about getting speeding tickets, getting too many speeding tickets.
Yeah, I think you did say something.
Right after that, they were trying to get people out and send people on their way and ending the show, and Sammy was upset about it. You could tell the band was disappointed they were having to end the set early. He ended up telling the crowd that he owed him one, and him and Michael Anthony walked together on the stage and did a little improv a cappella version of Cabo Wabo from OU812. And that was awesome. They have not been playing Cabo Wabo on this tour at all. So it was just out of the blue. Pretty cool that we got to have that in lieu of missing out the rest of the show.
Yeah.
I did go back on YouTube. There's several folks that recorded the entire show from other dates. Yeah. And I went back and watched one from a couple weeks ago where they played in Seattle because I wanted to see what I missed.
Yeah.
And found out we only missed 6 songs, which isn't too bad. We ended up missing mostly a bunch of Sammy solo staples. We missed Mas Tequila, which I don't think you've ever heard before.
No.
We missed Heavy Metal, and I know you've never heard that before, and that was one that Uncle Greg was wanting to hear him play. We missed Montrose song. Have I talked to you about Montrose before?
No.
So Montrose is named after Ronnie Montrose, guitarist. That was Sammy Hagar's first band.
Mm-hmm.
That first Montrose album is killer. Lots of good stuff on there. They played Space Station No. 5 from that album. Then they played a Chicken Foot song. Do you know what Chicken Foot is?
They had said something about it.
So Chicken Foot was a all-star supergroup that featured Sammy Hagar, Joe Satriani on guitar, Michael Anthony on bass, and Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers on drums. They did 2 albums. They did a live album. They came out and played Bigfoot I think it's off the second Chicken Foot album.
Why did they stop making albums?
I think it has something to do with Sammy. I don't know the whole story, but I've heard interviews with Joe Satriani where they've asked Joe about doing another Chicken Foot album, and he keeps deferring to Sammy, ask Sammy, ask Sam. So I'm guessing it might be something to do with Sam, maybe time commitments or something like that, I don't know. After Bigfoot, they did another old David Lee Roth era Van Halen staple, Jump. I know you've heard that before. I wish we could have seen that. I mean, it's not the best Roth era Van Halen song, but it gets the crowd going, gets the crowd singing along. It was a favorite. And then they closed their set with When It's Love, and I would have loved to have heard that. That song is from OU812 and it was a massive hit. It's a ballad. Sammy, on the show I watched on YouTube, opened up by calling it the greatest love song ever written. I wish I would have gotten to see that. But, hindsight being what it is, we only ended up missing 6 songs. We got a really good set.
Yes.
I even was impressed with Loverboy, the band that opened for Sammy. Did you like them?
Yeah.
I know you've never heard them before.
I apparently have heard one of their songs.
Oh, yeah? What do you think you've heard?
It was the last song.
Oh, you've heard Everybody's Working for the Weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good tune. My mom, when I was probably about your age, maybe a little younger, my uncle Kevin had made my mom a tape that had Loverboy on one side and another band called REO Speedwagon on the other. And we used to listen to that all the time on car rides with my mom. So I knew a pretty good deal of those Loverboy songs that got played. And they killed it. They were really good. It's probably my favorite opening band that I've seen with Van Halen or Sammy by himself either way.
I think they did pretty good.
Did a good job warming up the crowd. Had the crowd going, had the crowd singing along to some of their bigger hits. They were singing along to Turn Me Loose. They were singing along to Everybody's Working for the Weekend. I'm not sure if that's the actual title of that song, but I think that's what it's called. But yeah, they played a killer set. They were really good. They played for about 40 minutes or so. And I know on the whole for Sammy's show, if he would have got the whole show, and they play for roughly around 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes, somewhere in there. So I'd say we got about an hour and 45 minutes in or so.
Maybe in 2 hours.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Again, disappointing that there was the rain delay and getting the concert cut off and stuff, but it's always such a good time to see Sam. And I'm not sure how much longer he's going to do it. Like I said, he's 76 years old. I always try to take the opportunity to see him when I can. Would you go see him again?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Fun part time. Where would you rank this on your favorite concerts you've ever been to?
Ooh. Second.
Second? Behind?
Periphery.
Periphery, yeah. Periphery make that big of an impact on you?
Yeah. That's probably the most fun show to be at, behind, ahead of Sammy.
What other shows have you been to? I can't remember.
Backstreet Boys, Reba, Haken.
Oh, that's right. You did go to Haken with me. I completely blanked on that. Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing one.
No, I think you got it. I don't think you've been to more than 2 with Mom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you got drugged to Backstreet Boys. That's almost an unforgivable sin. I would have to say that this ranks way up there for me as far as favorite shows. It makes the top 3. In mostly just because I got to hear so many songs that I've never gotten to hear played live before. And I've seen Van Halen 3 times. Once with Sharon, once with Hagar, once with Roth. But they didn't play some of those songs, some of those deeper cuts. So, yeah, this goes right up there with some of my favorite shows I've ever been to. Easily top 3.
The only reason why it isn't number 1 is because of walking back and forth, and I feel like there's more potential to it with more songs.
I get it. I think your mom was pretty upset with having to walk back and forth all that too, so kind of is what it is, unfortunately. Alright, so we wanted to give you this real quick bonus episode to talk over the show. We're going to produce this and get it out for you for Monday, for Labor Day. So this will be your little Labor Day bonus episode. We do have another full episode coming up. Hopefully I will have that posted later this week. It just isn't going to make it to Monday. So this will tide you over until I get the next full episode up. Any last words, Michael?
No.
Nothing else? Nothing else at all? Nothing else to say about the show?
No. It's just fun.
Awesome. It's always fun going to a live show. All right. Well, in that case, we thank you very much for checking out our bonus episode. If you have the chance, get out, go see Sammy, go support the scene, buy that t-shirt, buy that merch, keep supporting the scene. Thanks for listening to the Leitmotif and Movement podcast. Take care and enjoy music.